Okay, so welcome to practice. We're going to start lying down in our supported bridge pose. So you can either do this with a block or a bolster. Bolster just takes the hips a little bit higher. If you've got a yoga block, then you want it just on a flat position. And then we'll come and lift the hips up. The feet are going to press down and we're going to just allow the pelvis to soften onto our block or our bolster. The hands are going to go by the side of the body, palms just resting up to the sky. Just begin to check in with the head and the neck here. You might want to place something relatively flat underneath your head, or you could go without anything, really whatever feels comfortable for you. So we're starting this practice really to find some openness through the chest in this shape. So I'd love you just to start to check in with the shoulders. So let the shoulders just rest down and away. Start to think about opening through that chest area, chest center, and really allowing the hands, the palms to soften, face them up to the ceiling here. And just really allow the hips, the belly to soften into the block. Feel the support just underneath you with your hips. Feel the support maybe just underneath your toes, your feet, just with your mat. And maybe just a little bit of a gap between the knees and the feet. And just take a moment to really land and arrive here. And then when you're ready, we're going to place our right hand just onto our belly, our left hand onto our chest in this position, or just somewhere around the upper part of the chest area. And I just want you to start to really feel for the movement of your breath. So just feeling for the rise and feeling for the fall of your breath and of your belly. Your chest maybe moving, then your belly, then your chest. And we're working predominantly with the shoulders, the heart chakra in this practice. So maybe just coming to dedicate this practice to yourself or a loved one, somebody perhaps that needs a little bit of compassion and support at the moment. And just starting to really bring some awareness into the upper body. So the shoulders, the chest, the head, the neck. And just taking a moment to feel for that movement of your breath. And then at the end of your next breath, just allow the breath to leave the body. We're going to place both hands around the belly. And if you can create a little circle shape, you're going to connect the thumbs together and the first fingers together, almost like an O shape, just with both hands. And then let both hands just rest around the belly. So you're kind of just making a circle around the belly here. The hands and the palms can soften. And again, just come and take a few moments of awareness here. Just letting that belly center soften. Perhaps just guiding some energy into the body this evening. If you're feeling a little depleted, perhaps with the heat, it's been really warm this week, so we can feel quite lethargic with the heat. Take a moment maybe to land here. And then at the end of your next breath, we're going to let the hands just relax by the side of the body. So take the hands away from the belly center, hands rest by the side of the body. And keeping with your block or your bolster underneath your hips, just come and draw the knees into the chest, almost like you're just balancing the hips a little bit on the block or support. And you can take a little bit of a rock and roll side to side. We don't want to fall off any props here. So just maybe a little bit of a rock and roll. So take the weight off the feet here. Just draw and hug the knees into the chest. And then just bringing one foot down at a time, you're going to unravel the hips. So you take the block or the bolster away. So peel the pelvis up and away. Take away any props underneath and then just slowly lower down. Taking a moment just to land those hips back here. Reaching the arms up to the side of the body, you can take your arms nice and wide, like you're spanning them out like the wings of a bird or a butterfly. The palms are going to rest facing up to the sky. And just take a few little windscreen wipers here. So drop the knees from side to side. Maybe you can move your head and neck opposite way to the knees, but just start to work into the lower back and really start to stretch through the fingertips here. So as we do this, we're not just working through the back, we can really stretch into the shoulders. You could even go a little higher with the shoulders, maybe taking them up towards the top of the mat. So you're spreading them kind of nice and wide here, fingertips long, as you move the knees from side to side. Couple more little rocks here. Okay, and then coming to hug the knees into the chest, just draw and hug the knees in. Take a little bit of a rock and roll side to side, and then we're going to start to bring ourselves onto our left-hand side. So when you're ready, bring the feet down and just roll onto your left-hand side. You're going to stack through the hips, the knees, the ankles, and we're going to bring our left arm out to the side. So you might want to have a block or a cushion for your head here. The left arm is going to fan out like it's stretching out to the side. And we're going to start with our right palm just resting onto our left palm. So both palms are going to be together. And we're going to take some shoulder openers here. So it doesn't really matter what your legs are doing. You might want to bend the knees a little bit, draw the knees into the chest, but just stack through the hips, stack through the knees, stack through the ankles. The right arm is going to open up and we're going to twist it over towards the right hand side of the mat. So you're taking a nice big stretch here. We're rotating through the back and the shoulder. And then just start to bring that right hand back to meet the left hand. So it's a nice big shoulder opener. If you're not sure, you can have a little look. And I'm just doing a few here. But you're just starting to really open through the shoulders. The elbows are nice and long. And you can bring your head and neck with you, just maybe looking towards the right hand side. So this is a nice one to do actually first thing in the morning, even before you get out of bed, just to wake things up a little bit. And allow the fingertips to be nice and soft. Perhaps think about just spreading the love and kind of compassion around you a little bit here, just cocooning yourself in this circle shape that you're making. At the end of the next one, we're going to hover that right arm behind us or to the right hand side of the mat and just take it into a stretch for a moment. So allow that right hand to come down. It may be that it doesn't go all the way to the floor if you're a bit tight in the pec muscle at the right shoulder. It might hover a little bit, that's okay. Or it might come all the way down so your hand meets the earth. And then when you're ready, just bring both hands back together again. And we're going to roll onto our back and do some shoulder openers on our back. So the fingertips, the palms, the hands are going to point up to the ceiling now. Come onto your back, knees can bend or knees can straighten, whatever feels good. And you're going to open the arms wide this time. So if you start to take them out like a nice rainbow shape and then draw the palms back together again. So we're doing kind of like a 90-degree angle and then back to the center. So you should be able to look towards your thumbs as you bring your hands up to the sky and then just allow the hands to drop away from each other and really just start to allow the shoulder blades to press into the earth here. And as you draw the palms together, you can almost round through the shoulder blades a little bit. So the shoulder blades are pressing down and then the shoulder blades are coming up off the mat. That way we get the upper back just stretching a little more. You can stretch through the back of the shoulder blades. Last one here. And then rolling onto the right hand side of the body, we're going to do exactly the same little twists on the right hand side. So again, you might want to prop through your head a little bit here. I find it's a bit more comfortable to have a bit of support with the head, but the right arm is going to come out to the side, 90-degree angle or shoulder height. Left palm is going to meet the right palm. Stack through those knees, ankles, feet here, and then just start to wave that left arm open to the left hand side. And then just bring it all the way back. So you might find that one side's a little stiffer than the other. Sometimes that's your non-dominant side, where sometimes we're a bit tighter just through the front of the shoulder. But just take whatever feels comfortable, no need to force here. So just starting to check in with the shoulders, letting the hands just be nice and soft. And again, this is a nice one to really rotate through the middle of the back. So you can really allow the middle of the back to move. It's not just that left shoulder that's moving, left arm that's opening and closing. We'll just take a couple more here. And at the end of the next one, again, you're going to hover that left arm just behind you, just taking it into a bit more of a stretch. It's okay if the arm hovers a little bit away from the floor. If it can come down, just let it come down. You might want to look towards the left-hand side just to encourage all that rotation movement. And then wave that left hand back to meet the right. Take a little moment just to pause here. Yeah. And then from here, we're going to press ourselves up into sitting. So take your time, no rush. Just start to guide yourself into a bit more of an upright position. And up to you how you sit. We're going to just come into a few shoulder openers, a few shoulder stretches in sitting. So if it's more comfortable to come and sit up on a block, then feel free. But as always, just take whatever comfortable, easy seat works for you. And we're we're going to start just by hugging those elbows together. So imagine you're just giving yourself a nice big hug here. Wrap the hands around the back of the shoulders and just start to drop the chin to the chest. So really just feel into the back of the shoulders here, taking a moment to draw a little bit of compassion in towards yourself. And then starting to unravel those arms, we're going to wave them out to the side. Think about squeezing the shoulder blades together and really find some space between the chin and the chest. So just start to move between these two movements. As we draw the hands and the elbows in, we can really soften the spine. And then as we reach and lift the head up, we can start to extend through the back. So it's a little bit like a seated cat-cow. Think about your belly and your lower back moving as well as those shoulders. Really open, nice and wide. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and then draw the hands in towards you, just gathering a little bit more warmth towards the center of self. And if you can, lots to think about now. Take a breath in as you open wide, and then as you breathe out, your lungs can just soften, all the air can just be released, and we can drop the chin to the chest. So breathing in, we allow that rib cage to expand as we open, and then breathing out, we can let that rib cage just soften and wrapping towards self. Lovely. Last one here. Maybe breathing in and then breathing out just to close and wrap around. Nice. When you're ready, just come back to center. Give the palms a little bit of a rub. And we're just going to do a little bit of shaking through the hands. So reach the arms into the air. And I just want you to shake off through your fingertips, maybe any stress through the upper body, any tension through the upper body. And you can just shake it away. This time, start to make it a bit bigger. So start to create a bit of a circle here as you're just shaking away. Yeah, and we start to think about just drawing a bit of energy in as well as we're doing this. So reaching the arms up, just giving it a bit of a shape. Lovely. Let's take the right hand to the right hand side. The left arm is going to sweep above the head, and we're coming into a little bit of a side body stretch. So just looking towards the right hand side, maybe taking a moment just to pause here. See if you can find that extra bit of length maybe through that left arm, left shoulder this evening. And then we'll come to the left-hand side. So left hand, left arm is going to press down. Our right arm is going to wave above the head. And again, see if you can think about that elbow stretching long, maybe looking towards the left-hand side. Softening through the palms as well, yeah. And then coming back to center, we're going to work a little bit with the cactus arms. So cactus arms is this position here, works through the rotator muscles of the shoulder. So you can soften the elbows if you've got any shoulder niggles or if it feels a little much. If it feels okay to be here, you're going to work the shoulder muscles a little more. So up to you. And you're just going to wave the arms or the forearms forwards and backwards to rotate through the shoulders. And you might find that you haven't got loads of movement here. Often we can be a little stiff in these directions because it isn't always a movement that we do unless we play loads of tennis. Because this is a serving position with tennis and badminton, but just take a little bit of a wave here. Nice, and then draw the elbows, wrists and hands together. We're going to come into prayer position, so Anjali Mudra here, and hold here. So this may be enough here, just to feel a stretch through the back of the shoulders. If you're not feeling a massive stretch and you want to go a little further, reach the fingertips up, but keep the elbows tucked in. So as soon as you take the elbows away, you're going to take the stretch away from the back of the shoulders. And if you lift the shoulders even a little bit higher, maybe going a little further, stay with it here. It's quite a hard stretch to stay in, so feel free just to focus in on your thumbs or close your eyes. And then maybe if you go even a little bit higher, just trust in those shoulders. Nice, well done. Keep the neck nice and soft as well here. And take a few moments just to breathe. Stay with this. Nice, well done. And then releasing the arms, just give the arms a little bit of a roll. You'll thank me tomorrow with those shoulders. And then take the hands just onto the shoulders. We'll circle through the elbows. Hopefully all those shoulders are nice and warmed up. We're going to come into tabletop position. So guide yourself onto your hands and your knees just when you're ready. Take your time. And just gather yourself so you're kind of in the middle of the mat, a little bit of room behind you, a little bit of room in front. Press the hands down, spread the fingertips wide. We're going to work into cat-cow here. Now you might want to take the hands a little bit wider. That works through the upper back, upper shoulder area a bit more, so up to you. And then start to draw the belly in. We're going to round through the back, just drop the chin to the chest, really press the hands just into the earth here. And then guide the hips back, start to lift on up through the head and neck, and we're going to arch the back, so drop the belly downwards here. And as you move between cat and cow, just allow the hips to wave a little bit, let the elbows soften. Notice if those fingertips can spread a little wider, and almost think about just the finger pads pressing down. So almost like you're clawing the hands kind of into the mat. That way we take the pressure off the wrist joint a little bit. So press into the finger pads if you can. And you could come up onto the finger pads. That's going to stretch you a little deeper onto the shoulders. So as you do this, just coming onto the fingers, it's a little bit like cupcakes under your hands that you don't want to squash. As you round through the back and come up onto the fingertips, you can stretch the upper back a little more. So maybe see how that feels. Everything's optional, of course. And then when you're ready, let's come back into tabletop position. Press the hands down, curl the toes under. We're going to lift the hips up, come into down dog. Heels back to the mat, and then just allow the knees to bend. So just walk it out here, bend in one knee, bend in the other, just releasing through the back of the legs. Lovely. So we're going to step that right foot forward. We're going to come into a warrior pose standing. So take as long as you need to get here. Right foot's going to face forwards, top of the mat. Left foot is going to press down, and we're going to unravel through the spine. As you come into standing warrior one, you're going to cactus the arms to come to here. We're going to work a little bit with the shoulders in our warriors. So fingertips up to the sky. Pull my trousers up. I put trousers on that are a little bit big this evening. So fingertips up to the sky. Take a moment just to pause here. And then we're going to draw those elbows, wrists and hands together. So the palms are facing up to the ceiling, fingertips facing up. And we come into here, just back to that little stretch. See if you can find your balance here. Sometimes it throws us off a little bit. And again, can you reach the fingertips, the palms up towards the sky a little more so you can stretch the shoulders just in this pose? And then we're going to stay here. So keep breathing. Stay with your focus here. Maybe look towards your thumbs or just finding a little spot to focus on. Pressing your left foot, left heel down. Reach the arms into the air, palms together. And then we're going to bend that right knee, opening up into warrior two. So right arm forward, left arm behind. Nice big open shape just with those arms. So check back in with the shoulders here, palms resting down, fingertips nice and long. And really lift up through the center of the chest, yeah. So try not to sink the hips backwards, just lifting and up through the center of the chest. Breathe easy. Open up through those shoulders. Nice. We're going to take the right hand onto the right leg. The left arm is going to sweep up towards the left ear. And then we're going to circle it all the way around. Now you could start to come a little lower, maybe just sweeping and kind of circulating this warmth and this energy all around the body. You could come all the way to the earth, maybe bending those knees and just taking a nice big movement here. And then just start to reverse the direction again, just working into that left shoulder a little more. You can really reach all the way around, just coming from front to back of the mat with that left arm. On your next one, let's come and take extended side angle. So left arm is going to come above the head. We could take our right elbow to our right knee and just start to wave the left arm above the head. So really think about arm here, reaching those fingertips almost a little further, lengthening through the side of the body. Take a few minutes just to breathe easy. Nice. Okay, we're going to release the hands. You're going to bring both feet to face forwards, and we're going to bring the hands all the way down. So you're going to come into a wide-legged forward fold here. So twist so you're on the long side of the mat. The hands are going to press down. If it's super far down and you can't reach, perfectly fine. Maybe take a little block to come to here because we're going to twist from this position. So keeping your left hand down on the floor or onto a block. Peel the right arm into the air. Take a twist. Look towards your right shoulder. So twisted, wide-legged forward fold, looking towards that right arm, right shoulder, just pausing here. Nice, feel into that arm, feel into that space. Stay with it, keep breathing. Nice, we're going to bring right hand down. Left arm is going to come into the air, keeping the right hand down and block or all the way to the earth. Really feel into this twist. So imagine that you're trying to rotate through the middle of the back as well. Left arm just nice and long, feed it into the air, pause here. And again, keep breathing. Find that openness through the chest. Nice. Last one here. Bring both hands back down. So left hand to meet the right. Feed the hands to frame your right foot. We're going to soften that left knee down to the earth and come into a low warrior pose. So right foot faces forwards, top of the mat. Left knee is down. Reach the arms into the air. And as we did before, you're going to cactus the arms and the elbows. So squeeze those shoulder blades together. Fingertips up to the sky. Nice and open through the chest. Find that heart space, that heart center. And again, breathe easy. Left hip is sinking forwards. Press the hands down, guide that right knee back underneath the right hip, tabletop position. Take a little wave with the hips, maybe side to side. You could go forwards, backwards, maybe a nice big circle with those hips all around. And maybe give the toes a little stretch as well, maybe curling the toes under. You could take the heels and the hips downwards. So drawing the hips to the heels as you press and dig those toes in. And then let's come into just a little bit of a mini child's pose, maybe going a little wider with those arms, just stretching through the shoulders, sink the hips to the heels, lengthen through the arms, and just allow the forehead to soften, maybe taking a block if you need just underneath your forehead, perhaps just taking a moment to come back to your breath here. Yeah, nice, just breathing easy. And really just begin to check in with the arms, the upper body, the shoulders, maybe just noticing how they're feeling. We can often carry a lot of weight around those shoulders physically, mentally, emotionally. So as you're breathing here, when you exhale, perhaps just allow some of that weight, that heaviness to be lifted, anything that's feeling a little heavy for you at the moment. Perhaps just thinking about letting it go with your breath here. Lovely. So guiding yourself back into tabletop, we're going to repeat that on the other side. So curl the toes under, come and meet me in down dog when you're ready. The hips are nice and high, feet to the back of the mat, legs in through the legs, and just start to walk it out here. Bend in one knee, bend in the other, just giving those heels a nice big stretch. Stepping forwards, left leg now, bring that left foot to the top of the mat, take as long as you need. We're going to keep the right foot, right toes down, unpeel, unravel through the spine, and we're going to meet with those arms back in that cactus position. So come and cactus the arms in your warriors when you're ready. Check in with how high you want those elbows. Think about tucking them in if you want to take it further down and a bit easier, or lifting up just to go a little higher. Find your balance here. And then coming to draw the elbows, wrists and hands together, you're going to press the palms together, fingertips pointing up to the sky. Take a moment to find your balance here, always throwing the balance off a little bit. So if you're feeling a bit wobbly, really normal, you could bring your back leg in slightly or just go a little wider with your stance. See if you can find your focus to your thumbs here. And then maybe we could lift those fingertips up a little higher, just taking the palms away from the body and lifting up to find that stretch here. Nice, one more breath, stay with it. Right heel presses down, start to reach the arms into the air, bend into your left knee. We're going to send that left arm forwards, right arm behind, finding warrior two. So your left foot should be forwards to the top of the mat, that right foot should be behind the back of the mat. Left arm is forwards, right arm is behind. And again, find your focus, maybe gazing forwards, shoulders just nice and soft, belly lifted here. Couple moments, just breathe easy. Left hand onto the left leg, you're going to sweep that right arm to the right ear, and we're going to circle it all the way around. Now you could bend into those knees, really think about gathering in here. And then once you've done a few in one direction, we're going to start to reverse it in the other direction. So start to bring that right arm to the top of the mat, feed it all the way down, and then take it to the back of the mat. So just reverse the direction, give that shoulder a nice big stretch, clockwise and anti-clockwise. And then we're going to come into that extended side angle. So left hand on the left knee, left thigh. If you want to go a little lower, we could bring elbow to thigh. Our right arm is above the head. And find some nice length here. Imagine someone's pulling you just a little further through those right fingertips. Lovely. Take a few moments just to breathe. Find this shape. Nice. Okay, then wide-legged forward fold. You're going to bring left foot, left toes to face forwards or side of the mat. Nice and wide with the feet here. Hands are going to press down. You could take a block for your hands or come all the way to the earth. Now, instead of those twists, we're going to bend into the knees this time. So take a little bit of a wave with the knees, just side to side. Yeah, we can really just stretch into the hamstrings, back of the leg here. Okay, and then we're going to do some hand to feet taps or hand to toe taps. So you're going to bring your right hand towards your left ankle, left foot. And then we're going to switch over. So bring your right hand back to center. Your left hand is going to touch towards your right ankle or your right foot. So you're just alternating right to left. This gives us a bit of rotation through the back, allows that arm to stretch as well. If you need to bring your feet in a little bit, feel free. If you need to bend your knees, feel free as well. But just take a few little taps here, opposite hand to foot. And on your next one, make it your last one. We're going to bring our left foot to face forwards, top of the mat. Both hands are going to frame that left leg. Right knee comes down. Low warrior pose is here. Unfurl through those right toes and sweeping the arms into the air. Cactus the arms again. So we'll come back into this shape with those shoulders, fingertips up to the sky. Nice. Maybe just catching your breath for a moment here. Squeezing those shoulder blades together, fingertips up to the sky. And really look forwards here. So find that openness really around the head and the neck. Breathing just softly. 2 more breaths. 1 more here. Press the hands down, guide that left knee underneath, let's take tabletop position here. And then just come off the knees for a moment, come into sitting, maybe the middle of the mat. Just give the knees a little bit of a rub, maybe just a little bit of a shoulder roll or a little shoulder shrug here. Nice, feel free to grab a drink. So we're going to work a little bit on the long side of the mat. Hopefully knees are okay, but if knees are a little delicate, for the next couple of things we do, you might want to pad through the knees. So see how you go. You're going to need a block or a cushion, doesn't really matter. We're going to take the block to the right-hand side and you're going to come onto your knees. So we're going to come into this position in the middle of the mat. So you've got a bit of room kind of either side of you. Yeah. So yeah, if the knees are a little bit delicate, then feel free to pad underneath. We won't be here super long, but do just look after those knees. And you're going to start by bringing the right hand just onto the block. The left arm is going to sweep up and over. Now, as we do this, we're going to sink the hips down as well. So the hips are going to come to the heels. And as we lift up, you're going to think about the hips really pressing forwards. This way we get the glutes and the hips working. So think about creating that full circle shape with the left arm. But as you dip down, the hips can come down. And then as you come up, those hips can really press forwards here. Nice, and just really start to find some extension through the back. So there's a little bit of an arch and a wave through the back as we go. And then once you've done a few with that left side, we're going to bring the block over to the left-hand side. So we're going to wave that right arm into the air. So sinking the hips down. If it's too much on the hips, you could just stay with the arms. Yep, come into here. Or if it feels okay, really think about those hips pressing forwards. And you'll notice that the back will start to extend, which is a little bit of a backwards movement with the hips and with the back. And that side body can really open up. Last one here. Beautiful. We're going to come into a gate pose. So press the block to the right-hand side. Now, up to you. You could go a bit flatter with the block here. You could go without the block. You could go long ways. But you're going to press the right hand onto the block. Our left arm and left leg are going to come to here. So we're going to come into gate pose. I find it a bit easier with the block because my arms are short. But if you've got long arms, it can go well without the block. So up to you. And just take a moment to find the shape. You could look down towards your hand here. The left arm is nice and long. Left leg is nice and long. And then maybe just see if you can float the left leg into the air, just taking a little bit of a balance here. That right hip's got to do a bit more work then. Just pausing for a moment. Lovely. Maybe see if the leg can go a little higher. Maybe a little higher. Nice. Keep those legs up. Nice. Well done. And then soften that left arm, left leg down to the earth. We're going to come straight to the other side. So feel free to guide the block over to the left-hand side of the mat. Left hand could come down to block. We're going to sweep right arm and right leg nice and long. Just taking a nice big opener here and just finding this shape. Pause for a moment. Really think about that right arm coming as long as that right leg. So rather than the elbow bending, find a nice long line from fingertips to toes. And then we could stay here, or we could start to lift that right leg. It could just float maybe a couple of centimeters off the earth. It could go a little higher, whatever feels good. You'll feel a bit of work through that hip, that supporting hip, so stay with it. Nice strengthener for the hip here. Breathe, love it. Then softening that right arm, right knee back down. Take a moment just to maybe circle those wrists. It can feel a little bit wrist heavy, I know, but a little bit of a circle of the wrists here. Okay. So from here, we're going to come into a few little stiller poses. So nice flow practice, well done. We're going to grab, if you've got bolster, maybe just grab your bolster here. And we're going to come into a bit of a chest opener. So you're going to grab your bolster. If you've got a block, you might want to prop the block so that the bolster comes on a little bit of an angle here. If you haven't got bolster, don't worry, you could just do this with maybe a couple of cushions, but you want to be on a bit of an incline. So those of you that have got the bolsters that are nice and firm, it will stay quite nicely. You can just prop it up on a block. And then we're going to come so that the chest is open and the hips are opening as well. So if you guide yourself now so that the hips are nice and close to your bolster. Options with your legs, we could come into butterfly pose, soles of the feet together. If that's too much on the hips, you could just bend the knees. But you're going to unravel yourself and allow the heart space to really shine up to the sky. So the head and neck can be supported here. Feel free to get another cushion underneath your head if you need. And the hands and the arms are going to come nice and wide. So you're going to bring them probably off the mat here. They're going to just sink just to their corners or just off the mat. The palms are going to rest facing up. And allow the fingertips, the hands, the shoulders to be nice and soft here. So we're taking our awareness just into the center of the chest. So it takes a little bit of setting up to do this with props, I know, but do just take your time, yeah, take whatever you need, because once you're here, it can be a really lovely position to find this openness through the chest. Yeah, nice. Yeah, lovely. And those of you with the bolsters, I think you look like you're there, but you do want your back kind of just mirroring where the bolster is. So you're lying with your spine kind of long ways along the bolster. And then as we start to draw in a little bit more of our yin, our calmer, our softer practice, we're going to come and check in really with that heart chakra, that heart space. So perhaps just beginning to remind yourself here of all of the love that surrounds you. And we're going to spend about 3 minutes in each shape. So just really allow yourself to begin to surrender in this space, in this stillness. Bringing in perhaps this affirmation, I am loved, love surrounds me. And just checking with the head and neck here, sometimes without realizing we've tensed up through the jaw or through the forehead. So just allow your forehead, allow your jaw to soften. Perhaps just rest the tongue gently in the mouth here, or feel free to take a yawn, a cough, a sigh. And just a couple more moments here before we think about moving. So just taking your time, and when you're ready, we're going to start by just moving the legs and the feet. So if you bring your hands just onto the outside of the knees, if you're in this butterfly shape, you can come and draw those knees together, those feet together. And I'd love you just to take a moment here. So without moving the back off your props, just Allow the feet to rest down to the earth, the knees up to the sky. And then we're actually going to move just into our neck shape from here. So you're going to drop the knees over to the left. And we're going to come and hug onto our props here. So the formation that you've got already with a block and with a bolster, you're going to guide yourself onto your left hip and we're going to hug the bolster. So the side of the body is coming down. And you can either take your left ear kind of towards a bolster and just let your left ear, left-hand side of the head and neck rest. You can do this with your forehead sort of down, but you sometimes feel a bit suffocated. So again, it takes a little bit of just working out what feels comfortable. And the block, again, should be able to be nice and stable to stay there. You can just literally wrap and hug the bolster. If you have a bolster, you could just do this perhaps with a pillow. And if you just want to check in with the feet and the knees a little bit here, you can have the feet apart, the knees apart. Your knees don't have to be stacked. So we're really just allowing the side of the body to open. So just give your bolster almost a little bit of a hug, just wrap those arms around. And we're just going to take a few moments on this left-hand side. So that left-hand side is the side of our heart space, our heart center. Our left-hand side is thought to be that calmer, more relaxed inside. So perhaps just beginning to balance out that busyness, that planning, perhaps that overthinking, overthought. That right-hand side of the brain, which is all about processes, analysing, thinking. Leaving that to one side and just coming into a more restorative, a calmer. No need to plan or think here, just allowing yourself just to be in this shape. And you might here be able to just listen for your breath, or sometimes you can listen a little bit for your heartbeat, your pulse. And perhaps just taking a deeper breath in, a little bit of a longer breath out. Looking very comfortable as you are, but we are going to start to think about moving in a moment. So first thing you might want to do is just open your eyes if you've got your eyes closed. And then maybe just starting to unravel the arms. We're going to press the hands just into the earth. And I really want you to use these shoulders to press yourself up. So press the weight into the hands, but really just use the shoulders to press you up here. And just really take your time, unravel nice and slowly from this. And then we're going to guide ourselves just to sit in at the back of the mat. So you can leave your props and your kind of formation here. But just come into sitting when you're ready. And you can face any direction that feels good, but just so you can see what we're going to do next, we're going to work with the mudra of the heart chakra, which is what we call the Padma mudra or the lotus mudra. You're going to bring the wrists together, the thumbs, and then the little fingers. So it looks a little bit like a lotus flower kind of opening up. Yeah, lovely. So we're going to sit with this just around our heart space. Allow the shoulders to soften, lift up through the head and the neck, and just take a moment to pause here. So come back to kind of holding whatever compassion and love that you need within your heart space. Maybe that's a little bit for yourself. Or maybe that's that person that you thought about or dedicated this practice to at the start, just coming back to that space here. And then we're going to reach this mudra into the air. So you've got your palms just raising up to the sky, taking a little bit of a stretch through the shoulders. And then starting to bring the left hand onto the right knee, we're going to come into a twist. So bring your left hand onto your right knee, your right thigh, drop your right hand behind you, and just take it into a little bit of a twist here, looking towards the right hand side of the body. And you can use your right hand to really pivot you around. So that can give us a bit of a deeper twist. If you press your left hand onto your right knee, also a little deeper, or with a little bit of encouragement, you can twist yourself around more. Pause here. And then come back to that little mudra, that lotus mudra, palms together, thumbs and little fingers connecting. Reach that mudra into the air, lengthen the arms, and then we'll come into the twist the other side. So your right hand is going to press onto your left knee, your left thigh, and then our left hand is going to drop behind us on the side. And again, just pivot yourself around. Try and just allow the back to lift as well. So if you're feeling like you're collapsing a little bit through the middle of the back, take a little bit of a lift and a wave up through the spine. Try and lift through that head and neck area. Yeah, nice. Okay, and then just come back to center when you're ready. Lovely. So we're going to set ourselves up for two options. I'd love you to maybe give puppy pose a little bit of a go. It's a bit more of a heart opener for the shoulders. So if you've got a bolster, we are going to bring it so it is right at the top or kind of a third of the way down the mat. And you've got a bit of space for your body, the rest of the mat here. Again, if you haven't got a bolster, you can do this pose without a bolster actually, so don't overly worry. But you're going to come so that you're in a bit of a tabletop position and the bolster is kind of around your elbows. So the bolster wants to be behind you rather than in front of your hands. And then keeping the hips really stacked under the heels, you're going to walk the hands to the front of the mat. So you want to give yourself a bit of space here. And rather than the hips sinking backwards, this way you're going to come into a bit more of a child's pose. You really want to stack the hips underneath the knees. So really the lower legs aren't moving here. I want you to walk the hands away from you to come into it. Yeah. And you'll find a point where you start to feel a bit of resistance through the shoulders. Maybe the point where you just start to think, right, that's where it is. That's the point of kind of my edge. And we can hold here. So that bolster is around the elbows. You could just tuck your forehead or you could tuck your chin just onto the bolster. It's up to you. The arms are nice and long. And if puppy pose here isn't feeling good for your back or even for your knees, your alternative is just to come into a child's pose. So maybe just using the bolster in front. If you want to come to a normal child's pose with the hips down, that's your other option. Yeah, nice. Up to you, depending on shoulders and knees. Yeah, and it takes a little bit just to find where that bolster feels comfortable as well. So feel free to move it around. You might want to walk your hands in or walk your hands out slightly. The toes want to be nice and soft here. And once you've arrived here, just check in with if the hands are very narrow together, we're not going to really work into the shoulders and the middle of the back. So just see if you can walk your hands almost to the corners of the mat or maybe a little bit wider. Yeah, nice. So nice deep stretch into the back. Now, often with puppy pose, I tend to see people's hips sinking backwards. So keep the hips nice and high. The other thing to think about is really allowing the back to arch. So really drop the belly down here. That way we get a bit more extension, a bit more of a back bend. So don't be afraid to just really sink that belly, sink the hips, yeah, the middle of the back down. Yeah, nice. When we're working with the heart chakra, we're also thinking about welcoming in perhaps some forgiveness. Forgiveness to self, others. Perhaps just letting go of those stories that you're maybe churning over, or things that have happened just within the mind. Just maybe allowing them to begin to pass by rather than holding on. And then now that we've been here for just a little bit, if there's any other adjustments that feel like you need to do, take any adjustments, any movements, yeah, because we're going to hold here for just over another minute. So we tend to say in the yin practice, it takes a good 90 seconds to feel into the shape. Okay, just start to deepen through the breaths here. Maybe just listening for that breath, the sound, just close to your chest, close to your body. And then you're going to walk those hands back into tabletop. So again, just use those shoulders, just trust that you can take the weight through the upper body, and just walk yourself back into tabletop position. Just take a little bit of a moment here where we'll come off the knees. Nice. But before you do that, I just want you to drop the belly down and really squeeze the shoulder blades together. So just take a moment to kind of come into a little bit of a cow position rather than cat. Drop that belly down and squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then as you come into the cat position, so we're going to C-shape the spine, I want you to really press the hands into the floor, almost like you're pushing the floor away from you. So we're just going to do a little bit of a release here in like a cat-cow position, but pause just at the end of each movement. So drop the belly down, squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift up through the head and neck, really allow that back to arch, and then press the weight into the hands, almost like you're pushing the earth away from you, really round through the back. Lovely, drop the chin to the chest and just pause there. And then we'll do one more in each direction. So just slow it down a little bit as we're finding this rebound movement after that stillness. Drop the belly down, squeeze the shoulder blades together, sink them in towards each other. And then last round into that C shape. So push the hands into the earth, round through the back. Draw the shoulder blades away from each other. Lovely. And then come off the knees, come off the wrists. Feel free to give the hands a little bit of a rub, maybe give the knees a little bit of a rub. Yeah, lovely. So we're going to come into a really restorative shape now. So not too much kind of stretch or intensity. You're going to bring something underneath your knees. We're going to come into what we call mountain book pose. So bolsters are great for this. If you haven't got anything like a bolster, then maybe just a couple of cushions, but maybe just have the knees bent. I want the feet and the weight of the feet to feel really rested and relaxed here. So we take the weight away from the lower legs. And then as you unravel down, we're going to bring the hands out to the side of the body. So final sort of little stretch wide with the arms. Stack the head just on the shoulders, tuck the chin in, and just open the arms wide. So we're kind of in a bit of a T shape here, I suppose, with the body. Palms are resting facing up to the sky. And just take a moment to really let those heels hang. If you want to just circle the ankles a little bit here, or just move through the feet and the toes. Nice. And let the back of the hands just meet the earth. Palms up. Elbows just nice and soft. And then before we come into relaxation, we're going to take another few moments here. And then we're just going to do a little bit of release for the back. So just Allow yourself to sink into this shape for the next few moments. Maybe letting the heels just be a bit heavier, and letting your back and your shoulder blades just press down. And then we're going to bend the knees and let the feet come and press onto the bolster or cushions, whatever you have, just underneath your feet here. So take the weight away from the lower legs. And then we're going to take the windscreen wipers with the feet elevated. So feet are on the block or on your bolster, and just drop those knees side to side, just allowing the back to release here. Yeah. Can feel a little more intense when we use a bolster, so you might find you don't want to drop it quite so far as you do normally. Up to you. And then just come and give the knees a hug into the chest. You're going to interlace the fingers. So take the hands away from the floor and just wrap the hands around the knees. Maybe interlace the fingers just around the top of the kneecaps and just draw the knees in. So come back to that hug shape. If your neck feels okay, you could lift your neck and just draw your neck towards your knees, just taking a bit more of a stretch through the whole spine, and then dropping the head and neck back down. Take a moment to pause here. And then if it feels comfortable to have your bolster underneath your knees, you could do relaxation with the bolster just underneath the knees now. You might want to, if not, just walk your feet away from the bolster. So just kind of roll the bolster to the end of the mat. That can be quite nice. And then come and take a full body stretch wherever you are. So bolster underneath the knees or rolled away. Reach those arms above the head. Just stretch from fingertips to toes. You might want to circle those ankles, maybe a little circle of the wrists as well. Yeah, just completely release here. And if there's any other stretches that feel good, feel free to take them. You could reach the legs into the air, just taking the weight off their feet. You could give your knees a bit of a hug again, or you could come into a little happy baby, knees apart, just reaching for those big toes. And then really come in to find a nice comfortable position, just to allow yourself to rest into here. Maybe just taking a little extra moment to get comfortable. This practice of love and compassion, perhaps just taking a moment to get that extra bit comfortable, perhaps with your head supported, your feet supported, your back, your body, just beginning to really rest and sink into the earth. And you can take this in any shape that feels good for you. It doesn't have to be on your back, whatever feels good. So come in now just to allow the body to rest physically, mentally, emotionally. Our practice of yoga really is a practice of self-care, of self-love. Every time we come to the mat, we show some awareness to ourselves. We dedicate some time just to listen into our body. So perhaps just take a moment of gratitude for making it to your mat this evening. And just beginning to perhaps close down the eyes, soften your gaze, and bringing your focus and your awareness back to your breath or even your heartbeat if you can feel for it in this position. Start to let the forehead relax, the eyes just come to some darkness. The nostrils, just allowing the passage of air in and out. Your cheeks to soften, your lips, your jaw, just allowing your tongue to rest in the mouth. Bring in some softness just into the center of the chest, the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists and the hands. Softening through the belly, the rib cage, relaxing through the knees, the thighs. Allowing the lower legs, the heels, the toes, just to soften here. So welcoming in just this practice within our heart space, our heart chakra. Coming to hold some love and compassion to yourself. Gentle acceptance, perhaps, of all parts of your being. I love and accept the person that I was. I love and accept the person that I am. I love and accept the person I will become. And this chakra is associated with the colour green. So perhaps just allowing that lotus mudra or that vision of that lotus just around the heart space, sometimes represented as a green lotus flower. Welcoming in all the times that you have given and received love. So just beginning to really check in with the words, perhaps, that we're talking to ourselves with. Kind words, kind thoughts, loving words, loving thoughts to self. The first practice and way to really open up this heart chakra. And beginning to maybe deepen through your breaths here. Just allowing your breath to rise and fall through the chest, through the belly, through the belly, through the chest. And coming just to move through the fingertips, through the toes. Just taking some really gentle, subtle movements here. And we're going to finish our practice on that left-hand side, the side of our heart. So just begin to roll yourself over, maybe a little stack through the knees, the feet. In this position, you could just give yourself a little bit of a hug. Yeah, just really hugging the knees into chest. And as always, with every practice, we finish this practice. Just a reminder of the position we began life in, allowing us to rebirth, let go of that old, begin anew again. So as we come and sit up, just begin to guide your heart space, your head and neck just into an upright position, just allowing this practice to reset your mind, reset your body. And to finish, we're going to reach those arms into the head. So just a nice gentle wave of the arms, just drawing those palms together. Coming just to meet the hands at the center of the chest, just taking a moment to thank yourself for making it to practice, taking the time that you need and deserve to be here, to be with your breath, to be with your body, to be with your mind. So bring the thumbs just in towards your third eye. So kindness, warmth, love, just within your mind. And then bring your thumbs in towards your lips. So kindness, just warmth, some love, just with your words. And then just with your actions, bringing your thumbs just in towards that heart space, kindness, love, compassion, warmth with your actions, self and others. Come and seal this practice into self rather than for making it here. Thank you for joining me this evening. It's already starting to get a little bit darker, which is weird. So have a lovely rest of the week. Hopefully you can come back just to the heart space at some point, maybe just that little lotus